Hello, hello. How is everybody? Hope you guys are good. So I just tried this a minute ago and my whole screen went black and I could not see anything. So I'm trying this again. So give me 1 second. We will get started. Give me just 1 second, guys. Okay. All right. So glad you guys could be here. You must be having problems with Storm. Yeah, I'm having some problems. So I don't know why that, but I had to restart the whole live all over again. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff I want to get into. So those of you who have not seen the video that I put up earlier, I want to pull that up and we can talk a little bit about that because there's just way too many connections, way too many coincidences, and way too many people in this case that seem to have a relation or a connection to each other. It's just unheard of. Okay, so let me pull this up real quick. Give me 1 second, you guys. I just did this. I went through I was on like the third thing and then my live crashed. So I don't know what the heck happened. Okay. All right, let me share this and then we'll talk about it. Let me mute myself. Hey everybody, so real short video here, but it appears that the family members that Anime went to rescue from Ukraine, supposedly, is Wise Pearl, whose real name is actually Sophia or Sophie. She's been called both. But she appears to be Samantha's aunt, as you can see in this message exchange here. And also, Truckee area families hosting international students. It looks like Samantha had one. And the same girl that Sam had is next to her in that picture is also the same girl behind Sophia in the picture at the airport. So, is Anime related to Sam? Are we all looking at a connection here? Is this one big ring? One big international ring that we are looking at here? You guys tell me. Let me hear your thoughts down in the comments below. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Okay. First of all, Dams, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. Highly appreciate it. Okay, so yes, the woman Sophia that Xana May claimed to have rescued from Ukraine. By the way, Ukraine, just one of the number one spots for human. But anyway, my audio is low. Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know why it was so low. But so the woman that she claimed to have rescued from Ukraine is the same woman that Sam was talking to on her Instagram, where Sophia said, "Oh, my beautiful niece," and Sam said, "Hey, auntie." So if Sophia is related to Xana May and Sophia is Sam's aunt, then that would mean that Sam and Xana May were connected. I mean, it seems to be there's so many freaking connections in this case. And I don't believe in coincidence. So, I mean, honestly, are we looking at a mother who sold her daughter to and put on this big whole cover up, which got everybody involved a bunch of money? And why are Tony and, first of all, why did Tony and Lindsay leave the lodge? Were they kicked out? Did they leave on their own volition? What happened there? And then you have Lindsay selling a crap ton of stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Now, why is that? Is it because they need the money, or is it because they're trying to get rid of a lot of stuff so they can, hit the bricks and get the hell out of the area? I mean, we don't know. And again, this is all speculation, opinion, and theory. But there just seems to be a lot of sketchy ass stuff going on here. And like I said, a real lot of connections. So, I mean, it is possible that we are looking at a sex ring. Very possible. Now, keeping that in mind, I want to go back and watch this interview. So let me mute myself. Just listen to the words that Lindsay uses to describe Kiely. Listen to how she talks about her with this theory in mind, that she was so resentful of her daughter and hated her daughter so much that she would do something like get rid of her. You know what I'm saying? So let's just re-listen to this interview.
An end of summer high school outdoor party. Now to the search for missing 16-year-old Kiely Rodney continues this morning. Kiely was last seen at an end of summer high school outdoor party at a campground in the small Northern California town of Truckee. Agencies from across California are in that area, searching that campground where the party happened as the search goes into week 2. There are local search and rescue teams, which include our high school friends who are on the front lines there. But authorities at the search site stress the importance of those at the party to come forward. More teams.
We do not have any new leads, and that I can tell you is very frustrating for us. And so we're reiterate that anyone that was at the party that night, please come to law enforcement. Please go to the tip line. It is anonymous if they want to remain anonymous. We can't urge enough that people that were there know something. If you know something, please say something. Come forward about Kiely's disappearance.
Take a look here. This is the last known image of Kiely taken at a store in Truckee just after 6 p.m. before she went to that party. Kiely's parents, along with authorities, again, they're pleading with those who were there, who may have seen something, to come forward with that information. And Kiely's mom says the last time she heard from her daughter was at the party when Kiely sent her a text saying she was getting ready to leave. And Lindsay, her mom, said she knew something was wrong. Kiely's mom and stepdad Tony spoke to me about their daughter, who she is as a person, how they're getting through these last week plus, going into 2 weeks, excruciating days, and those working countless hours to try to find their daughter. Tell me, Lindsay, what has it been like in terms of the authorities and who's involved now in the search?
We have, it seems like a very extensive collaboration of local, state, and federal authorities that have been working together since at least Monday. The days are blending. Everyone should really be, everyone's on the same page. Everybody is working tirelessly and together. And from our standpoint, it's sorry, I'm bumbling. It feels good to see the connection and the collaboration.
Can I just point out that did everybody just see Tony? Did everybody just see his eyes? I mean, that guy looks completely high out of his mind. Like, are you feeling a little guilty there, Tony?
And between all of the different, good to see the connection and the collaboration between all of the different agencies that are here.
You know, Lindsay, I can't even put myself in your shoes. I'm thankful that you're speaking to us, and I hope we get this out there. And it must feel surreal, like you're floating here and not knowing what will happen next. Tony, this was a senior party, as I understand. We were talking earlier. Do any of the kids know anything? Are they speaking out?
Some of the kids are, some of the kids aren't. We're trying to get to the kids that aren't speaking, because they're the ones that have the story that we need. We're
And
trying
Tony,
to get to
do you think, sorry to interrupt, do you think they do know more? Describe the community for those of us who don't know. Is it tight knit? Like, does everyone know of people, at least if they didn't know exactly who it was? Because the party was what, 200, 300 people?
Yeah, from my understanding, it was a really big party and there was people from all over. So it's, you know, as we are a small, tight-knit community, we are also easily accessed from a lot of other really big communities very easily. So with social media the way it is these days, it's very easy for anybody to find out where these kids could be hanging out.
And Lindsay, tell us about the last communication you had with Kiely, your daughter. You were texting, right?
Yeah, we were texting. We text a lot throughout practice, you know, through every day. We have a lot of communication between the two of them. The very last text that I got from her.
First of all, I would say as far as a mother goes, texting your daughter every day is not exactly having tons of communication. Just saying.
Was at 11:30 the night of the party, saying that she was planning on leaving in about 45 minutes and would be heading home. One of the reasons even that she had sent that text then is because we had originally planned and agreed upon a 12:30 curfew for the night, and so leaving at 12:15 would have put her home at about 12:45 instead. And she is so good at always reaching out and checking in, that she did that just to let me know that she was just planning on being 15 minutes late.
And you said, be careful, like all moms do. And how did she respond?
She said, "I will, Mama, I love you."
How, Lindsay, are you getting through the day? Is the focus on the search, of course? And like Tony said, I mean, there's so much with social media that hopefully you can piece together some of the pieces.
Yeah, I get through the days with the support of my community, my family, my friends, my faith, my hope. You know, my knowledge that that the reason that we have not found anything is not for a lack of resources or effort or want. Um,
Lindsay, we've seen her image. The nation has seen Kiely. Describe her personality, what she's like.
She's wonderful. She's funny and smart and tenacious, a little bit of a spitfire. She's everything that is wonderful about a teenage girl. She is turning into this strong woman with her own thoughts and convictions, and she's not afraid to share those. She is open and loving to everyone. I was just talking with somebody else about her her connection to so many people across the board, and whatever that is, you know, she has so many interests that she can make quick connections with pretty much anybody that she meets almost immediately, whether it's talking about food and baking recipes, or it's about hockey, or it's about, you know, playing the violin, or it's about country music, or it's about um, cars. Yeah,
Wow.
there's riding snowmobiles, going fishing and camping, going into the city, visiting museums.
Wow.
Yeah,
At 16 years old, what are her plans? I'm trying to picture myself at that age at this party. You never think anything could happen. Did she have plans the next day? And what did it look like after graduation? Were there plans leading up to that?
Yeah, so her plans, she did have plans for the next day. She was going to be going camping with 3 other kids. We had actually talked about even those plans on Friday morning, the last time that I saw her, that we checked in. And her plans for the future, because she has so many interests and passionate about so many things, really, her 2 primary interests and passions are science and music. And so she still is in the process of deciding if she wants to pursue a career in medicine, being a surgeon, or if she wants to pursue a career in music. And both of them, you know, we have been supporting her in just this journey of finding what path forward will fulfill her most, and her spirit as a human in life.
She just sounds like a wonderful person, as I know she is. And Tony, when the cameras aren't around, and are you piecing together kind of her closest friends? Have you been in contact with them? Are they giving you any hope here?
Yeah, we're all kind of giving each other hope. We got to lean against each other to get through this tough time.
Go ahead, Lindsay. Sorry.
Oh no, just yeah, her dear friends are dear to us and dear to our heart and close. We're keeping, yeah, as Tony was saying, we're all staying close together right now and sharing love and sharing stories and sharing laughter and tears.
And I did read that there's kind of like a teen group, am I right, searching for her, like a group of teens. And I believe it was someone, a local authority, was saying that he found that promising.
Yeah, the teen response in this area, in our community, has been overwhelming. I think that these teenagers who are coming forward are doing so from this, you know, well of courage that they're drawing from within themselves. And I think that, you know, that our youth deserve a lot of praise. And I think that, you know, that our youth, that they're drawing from within themselves, are doing so from in our community, has been overwhelming. I think that these teenagers who are coming forward are doing so from this, you know, well of courage that they're.
Now, let me ask you this. Why would she pick those words? Why? Our teens are doing this from a place of courage. So, A, if it was just an accident, right? There would be no, it wouldn't take courage to come forward. It doesn't take courage to come forward when you've witnessed or been part of, you know, when you've seen an accident happen. It does take courage to come forward with a BS story to cover up a trap ring. You know what I'm saying? That takes courage. But coming forward when you witnessed an accident, not so courageous, if you ask me, in my opinion.
They're drawing from within themselves, and I think that that our youth deserve a lot of praise and recognition that they're coming forward in a very courageous way. This is hard for everyone, and it's scary to do hard things. Sometimes it's scary to it's scary to face this head on,
Right.
and they are doing so like champions.
And I would say, just speaking to both of you, that you both are too. There are no
I mean, her just coming out and just the words she chooses to use. Like, they are champions. They are this, they're doing this amazing thing for the community. I mean, really? What do you mean? Like, coming up with this BS story, pushing it out, pushing out all the, pushing this fake narrative to cover up what actually happened to Kiely? Again, I take you back to all of the connections. It's super, super coincidental. Way too coincidental for me. Okay. Let me, this is almost over.
words to really say. I hope that we get the word out here, and our love and thoughts are with you both. And we hope that Kiely comes home soon. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so
thanks
much.
so much.
I mean, again, I take you back to what kind of mother is talking about, well, we're singing and, we're singing and dancing and missing her in our own way. It's not normal. I don't care who you are. I don't care. If your child is missing and has been missing for a week or two, you're not, I don't care what type of person you are. If you love that child, you are not going to be the way Lindsay was. If you were resentful and hateful towards your child, then you would be how Lindsay was. That would make sense. Okay. I'm telling you. All right, let's move on.
So scared and we miss her so much. We just want her home. We're so scared and we miss her so much and we love her so much. And Kiely, we love you. And if you see this, please just come home. I want nothing more than to hug you. And if anybody else out there, if you know where she is, if you know anything about where she might be, if you have any ideas or thoughts, please come forward and share them. And we're not looking to bust anybody else or get anybody in trouble. We just want to see our daughter home.
Here I am talking to myself. Yeah. Come on. That was so unreal. Unreal. I will just say that. Give me just 1 second, you guys. I gotta run and grab my charger real quick. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Actually, let me pull this up while you're waiting for me. Okay, now the one thing I wanted to say, it's for those of you who don't know, that's the jewelry girl from Truckee. There's actually a picture that she has taken with Lindsay. But it's super weird, right? That she was actually friends with Kiely, but she was never heard from in the beginning of this case. While the search was going on, we didn't hear from her. And we heard that Mags was her best friend. So honestly, I mean, it really makes you wonder. They only put forth certain characters, and it seemed to be characters that weren't actually involved with Kylie's life whatsoever. And maybe they did that for a reason, because maybe she actually was, and they didn't, and all of her people, all of her actual friends, like I said, when I told you guys about my theory, I honestly believe that only a freaking small group of people knows the truth. Only a small group of people actually know what happened to her. I think everybody else literally, believes the narrative and the story that was being told. And I think that's a huge part of the problem here. Right? And I think the small handful of people that do know are way too involved and have way too much to lose to ever say a freaking word about it. Because it's the only thing that makes any sense. Okay, now, do y'all remember when Ryan made that video talking about Zanime? Let me pull this up, because I actually went here. I went to this building that he was talking about, and it is a freaking big empty warehouse. There is nothing in that building. So let me pull this up, because it's not that far from me. Where is it? Right here. So Ryan was talking about this. It's called Zanime Real Estate LLC. It is in Syracuse, New York. Okay. 201 Solar Street, Syracuse, New York, 13204. Me and Chad went there to that building. It is literally an empty warehouse. There's nothing in it. So it's a fake business front for what? My guess? Victims. I mean, it makes total sense, right? An empty warehouse in the middle of a crap hole city where nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to notice. And if you're looking for runaways, young people on drugs, young people that nobody cares about, Syracuse is a perfect place to find some victims. Just saying. Now, I can't find a name of a person that actually is connected to this. Like, I cannot find the owner. I cannot find any information on this particular company. And that's super weird, because this is all I could find. So I was like, and I remember when he put that video out, and I was like, oh my God, that's not far. Like, we have to go look at that. And it makes sense if that's what this building is being used for. And it makes sense now, the Zanime connection, because before I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Right? And then if you go over, now I never really got involved in this angle of the Kiely case before. I never did. Okay. I was too focused on my attention over here on the Truckee people. So I never looked into this angle. But if you look up RJ's address, he has a camper trailer and an RV and a big white van. I'm just saying. And then Zaname was the first person that wanted to come out in his defense, talking about how she needed to reach out to him and she needed to see how he was because Ryan was making his life hell. So there's another connection. Why are all these freaking people connected? Okay, now let me pull this up. Dig the rabbit out of the hole. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So there's that. Also, yes, also it very well could be for money laundering. Just saying, an empty warehouse. All right, let me get out of that. Oh, well, I have to wait to try to make this connection, so I won't say anything yet. I have to verify this one first. So that'll have to be for a future video. Oh, and not to mention, it's weird, right? That we're finding this connection between Zaname and Sam. And then Larissa happened to find a connection between Doug and Zaname. I think that's super suspicious as well.
It's been a week now since a 16-year-old girl went missing from a campground party near Lake Tahoe in California. Police releasing this picture of the hoodie that Kiely Rodney was wearing at the party just before she disappeared. Her parents are asking for her help in finding her. Kiely's mother, Lindsay Rodney Neiman, joins us now. Lindsay, everybody is just obviously concerned in watching your story and praying for you and praying that your daughter turns up. Can you give us an update on this hour at any developments with this search?
Right now, I have not received any new updates from any of the law enforcement who are working on it. I know that they will be holding their own press conference shortly, and I'm sure if there's anything that they're ready to share, they'll be sharing it with everyone then.
16 years old. She was last seen at this party where we're told there was upwards of 300 people there. She was last seen 12:30 in the morning. She had texted you just before then saying she was going to come home. I believe that was 12:15, 15 minutes before she disappeared. What did she say to you in that text, Lindsay?
She told me that the text was at 11:30, and she told me that she was planning on leaving around 12:15 and was going to be heading home. I asked her to be safe and to let me know when she got home to wake me up, and she said she would, and love you, Mama. And that was the last time that she texted me.
You've had so much time to think about this. Are you coming up with any ideas in your head, considering her car is still missing, correct?
Yes, correct.
Are you hopeful at all that perhaps she, that maybe she decided to go somewhere on her own?
Of course I'm hopeful. Without hope, what is life?
Yeah. So what are police able to tell you right now about their search and any developments in this search? I know that a big part of this has been pulling all the cell phone footage of the 300 people at that party and talking to every single one of them to perhaps see if anybody unusual was in the pictures or the video at that party, someone that they did not know. Has anything come from looking at all that video footage?
As far as I know, they're still looking. They have a dedicated team of people who are looking through all of that video. They're still asking for more. If there's any teens or anybody who was at the party who still has footage that they've not sent, there's easy ways to send it in. There's anonymous ways to send it in. And yeah, we're still, hope again. We're still hoping that that something will come up. A picture can tell 1,000 words, and so that's the picture that we're looking for right now.
Absolutely. Lindsay, one of the most recent revelations was this shirt, this hoodie she was seen wearing with the lyrics of a song, "You don't want to be forgotten, you just want to disappear." Did you know that she owned that shirt? Had you seen it before?
That sweater belongs to one of her good friends. Lana Del Rey is a musician who sings so eloquently and has so many beautiful lyrics that can be quoted and put on a shirt. I think that it's not helpful to go down any rabbit holes or follow any red herrings about a sweater from a concert that had a pretty picture on it.
Got it. Please keep us posted. We're praying for you and this search for your daughter, Lindsay. Our hearts go out to you. We can not even imagine how difficult this is. We're all hopeful, Lindsay. Thank you very much for joining us.
I mean, that is such crap. Oh, we're getting all those photos and videos, and all of these photos and videos that were taken from a party with 200 people, and not one of them were leaked. Come on. Oh, don't go down any rabbit holes. Don't follow any red herrings. Really? Because that's all there seems to freaking be in this case. There was no party. I've been saying that since day one. Day one. No party. Oh, Lord. Okay. It's craziness. Let me see what some of you guys are saying. Never will find footage of a party that didn't exist. It was at Tahoe National Forest. Why did mainstream interview teens? Very good question. Very good question. Okay. Now, can we just stop for a second? I want you guys to take a poll for me, okay? How do I want to say this? Do you think that Lindsay is involved in any way, shape, or form with what happened to her daughter? If you think that is true, put a 1 in the chat for me. If you think Lindsay is completely innocent, knows nothing about what happened to her daughter, has nothing to do with it, put a 2 in the chat for me. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Doug is friends with Xaname's best friend. Really? Xaname's relative is Sam's aunt. Really? I mean, holy cow. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of 1s up in here. I mean, it's honestly, in my opinion, it's starting to look more and more like she was sold. Honestly, like a lot of shit points to her being sold. Anna. Yes. Jerry, that's what I'm talking about. I understand why Ryan saw this as a fake, because the alternative is too disturbing. See, like I said, in the beginning of this, the way Sam was, the way everybody was, my focus was mainly on them. I'm like, okay, that this girl is sus AF. And then just like recently, I had to step back from everything and I had to go, okay, let's look at this from another point of view. And then started, trying to connect dots that way. Sorry, I was like, what the hell is that? And then the way that her mom has been, it just, it would make sense if she was, if she resented her daughter, because it seems like she resents her daughter a lot. It seems like she doesn't have much kind words to say about her daughter. Like I said, if your daughter is missing and you have any love for that child, you are not going to be singing and dancing and playing guitars and listening to music and chilling when your kid is missing and other people are out there searching for your child. Yeah, yes, she is from Ukraine. And she worked with NASA. And she's got all these freaking connections. And I think that everybody involved got paid off. I think Lindsay got the GoFundMe money, Lindsay and Tony. I think that Nevada County Sheriffs got the $5 million grant. I think Placer County Sheriffs were like, listen, we don't want no part of this because we don't want, we don't want people digging into us. So we'll just do our part and put out the fake autopsy. Right. So that's we did our end of the bargain. Okay. And AWP got, money from Ryan anyway. They didn't get any money from the GoFundMe. But I also think that if we are looking at a big T ring, then that brings in the whole Celicia Singh angle and the Vanessa, because they had an escort service talking about, those are big in human sex teeing. You know what I'm saying? Would the drone footage from the search be public record? I don't know. I don't know if it would be. So Zaname is the one that brought AWP. That would make sense if she knew him. Well, that's not according to the story. According to the story, it was fans and stuff that were coming to AWP talking about, you got to go to Truckee, you got to go look for this girl. I don't think anything happened to her that night. I think she was gone. And this is just my opinion, but I think she was gone before that. That's why they had to fake the last known photo. That's why all this nonsense had to happen the way that it did. I mean, they came up with a cover up that was so suspicious that it kept us all looking in the wrong place instead of looking to where we needed to be looking and looking into the characters we needed to be looking into. We were all looking over here and we should have been looking over here, because nobody is that stupid. Nobody is that stupid to put that much suspect shit out in an interview. Nobody is. And if your mom is a lawyer, you're damn sure not going to be that stupid to slip up like Samantha did. Unless she was playing her part by making up the story about the party in the first place. Remember the Lost Trail Lodge paid Samantha Smith and a slice of pizza? Remember the photo that Sam put out? It was a purse full of cash, cold, hard cash. What was that payment for? Playing her part? Okay. Okay, I didn't know that's what that was. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office is not providing any further information, including to dispel possible rumors, while the investigation into the death of Truckee teen Kiely Rodney is still open. Kiely, 16, was found dead in her car in Prospect Creek Reservoir on August 21st. She went missing August 6th from a large party at a campsite next to the reservoir. The Nevada County Sheriff Shannon Moon has turned down requests for an interview now a month since Kiely's body was found. Wonder why that is. Wonder why she never came out and said another damn word about it. Her or any other cop in town. After the autopsy released, it was crickets. Crickets. That's not normal. That doesn't happen in a normal case. And this is why nobody has been arrested, right? Sam can't be charged if no party actually took place and it was all made up, right? To cover the ass of mom, which is why I think mom was so close to Sam and why I think mom walked up and gave her that disgusting hug in the town meeting, you know, because Sam did what she was supposed to do and took the heat off of the residents at the lodge, I will say. I mean, that makes total sense to me. Hold on one second, you guys. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, a CHP report that took a year to complete. Come on. Bull. Okay, so at this point, the autopsy hadn't come out yet. Okay, anyway, let's move on. I want to get over to this other video. You guys just do me a favor and hit that thumbs up for me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, yep. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Okay. Whoa. Look, here's the piece of pizza. Lost Trail Lodge paid Samantha Smith August 7th, 2022 at 10:38 p.m. I mean, hello. What the hell did people think it was for? Okay. Where are you? Here you go. Now, let's think about it. Let's just think about it for a second. Hypothetically speaking, let's say she was sold and she was sold to a T-ring, okay? Now, with that theory in your mind, let's listen to what he has to say.
It. And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to process it. I know that it fucking hurts, and I know that it hurts all of you. And I just wanted to say thank you for everyone that put the effort in and tried so fucking hard to bring her home. It really means a lot to me. And I'm sure it means a lot to her too. Thank you. Because she wouldn't want us to sit around sad as fuck all the time. She wants us to be happy, and she wants us to be safe, and she wants us to have a good life. That's all she ever wanted for anyone. I don't want to go fully public with it. Like, I'm not trying to put this on the news and everything, but I just wanted my closer friends to. And from now on, I want each and every one of you to live the way that Kiely would want you to live.
Okay, now let me Sugar, if you could drop a link to join my chat or to join my membership for me in the chat for Melissa, I'd appreciate it. Okay, we are all going through this together. Just because I was closest to her doesn't mean you guys don't feel it too. If anyone needs to talk to me about anything or even just someone to hang out with, let me know because I'll be here for you. It's what Kiely would want me to do. I mean, it really does make you think that she was sold. No, Jade Hunter, you're not. I can see you. And she was, teed. Can't say it. Censorship is ridiculous. Okay. It hits you a little bit differently thinking about it from that point of view, doesn't it? Or at least it does to me. All right, give me 1 second. I'll fill this one up. I still think Myro was trying to help her. Help who? Kiely, you mean? Sorry, I don't know if that was a part of a bigger conversation. I just happened to catch it. Yeah, Vanessa, that's what I'm saying. Vanessa and her escort service would fit in perfectly well to a T-ring, don't you think? The kids, I don't think they will have to come out and say anything because if the kids literally didn't do anything wrong except for play a part that they were paid to play, right? Certain kids anyway, certain people in this case that were implanted to play a part, to do their part. No, they don't ever have to come forward. What would they come forward and say? I mean, technically, they didn't hurt her. Okay. I believe that they know information, and I'm talking about AWP, that we are not privy to. Because when they said in their interview that a lot of heavy stuff is going to come from this, and nothing has come from this. Because I think they knew what we're talking about right now. All right, but let's play this interview.
"16-year-old Kiely Rodni was at a party with a large group of teenagers at the Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, California on Saturday, August 6th. Kiely was there celebrating the end of school and getting ready for the next adventure in her young life. Kiely's mom received a text from her daughter saying she would be leaving the party in about 45 minutes. Kiely never made it home. The sheriff and hundreds of volunteers began searching for her. The sheriff announced it was a possible abduction case as Kiely and her silver Honda CRV were both missing. While the searches by the sheriff did not uncover what happened to Kiely, a new group of volunteer divers stepped in, Adventures with a Purpose, a group which specializes in solving cases just like this. And today, Kiely was found. And tonight, we will speak live with the heroes who found her. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on.
Hold up. I missed it. I want to read this comment back here. Captain Kirk. Okay, and he also was the one who told Upchurch. Hold on, I missed some. I think Meryl was involved, but he loves her and tried to help, but he was too late. So hold on. You think that Meryl loved Kiely and wanted to help her, but he was too late? And I can't really recall what he told Upchurch when he talked to him. Anybody refresh my memory? Sugar said it's not letting me copy the link, but for Android users, there's a $sign in the bottom right corner. iPhone users need to join from the computer. Yeah, you can come up. Give me a second. I'll drop you the link. Larissa, are you still in here? Give me 1 second, guys. Larissa, you want to come up too? All right, come on. Come up here. Come join me, sister. I don't even have a picture of him like right now. I said I have an iPhone and no computer. Damn. You got the link or you need me to drop it again? That's what I'm saying. Even her plate number seems suspicious as hell to me. Even the plate number. Like, again, I think that's like, they knew that. That was all part of it. Like, that was all part of the, okay, let's keep people digging over here and not where we should have been. What's up?
What's up, girl?
Hey. Okay. Yeah, he said he was coming up, so we'll just give him a minute. And then when he pops in, I'll let him in. Is there anything you want to say before I start playing this video?
No, I have so many questions. Genuinely. Oh. I'm so concerned with like the connection with Zanme and Doug and that friend, and like that's got my mind all messed up. I'm like, what's going on here?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what's going on? That's why I have so many more questions now after I found that out.
Right. I saw your video, and then when I got that information sent to me, okay, no problem, Kurt. When I got that information sent to me, I was like, no freaking way. Mm-hmm. Like, how many connections is too many connections? right?
Yeah,
But
like it's
before we're
okay. It
all
would be
going,
one thing. Yeah, it'd be one thing if like the friend just knew both of them, but like it's a whole different situation when like they're both surrounded in the same case. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So
yeah,
it's just a weird connection. It's a weird circle of coincidences.
it's so crazy.
Hmm.
And it seems like no matter like around every corner you find somebody that's connected to somebody else that you never you never looked at before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. It's every time you turn around, it's something new.
It is super crazy.
Hmm.
Okay, so let me start playing this. We'll talk.
On closing arguments, we have a big hour coming up here. I want to start, though, talking about something that we talk about all the time here on closing arguments, which is missing children. And the numbers are absolutely staggering when you talk about the number of children missing. I mean, over 300,000 a year are reported missing. 300,000. Get your mind around that for just a little bit. That's why at the end of every show, we profile a missing child and ask.
I know. Can we just take a second? 300,000. Like, that is a ton. Yes, some are runaways, that actually ran away, but there's a damn good percentage of those kids that are taken, either sold or taken, trapped, and never seen again. Okay.
Ask for your help. It is way too many, but it's the reality of what happens now. Don't think of it as just a number now, all right? Because many of us are parents. Some of us are grandparents now too. Think about that number, and then think about, okay, that child is missing, and that means there's loved ones, family members, moms and dads, brothers and sisters, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas. But think about it through the eyes of moms having a child missing. Absolute worst nightmare. I mean, the child that you carried for those 9 months, the child that you raised for however many years it was, and you're looking at a mom here who raised a child for 16 years. And then that girl went missing. Her name is Kiely. Kiely Rodni, missing since August 6th. And her mom spoke out and tried to do what she could do. She didn't know what happened. She didn't know why Kiely was gone, or where she was, or what was happening to her. Did she need help? Am I ever going to see her again? All those questions. And think about how many cases we have profiled here on closing arguments through the years where I've spoken with a mom and mom didn't have an answer. And it is absolute torture for them when they don't have the answer. Where's my girl? Where's my little girl? What happened to her? Tonight, it's incredibly sad, but mom has an answer. It's not the answer that she wanted. It's not the answer, but she does have an answer. And I want you to keep that in the back of your mind because of what the alternative is, which is not knowing, never knowing what happened. Where is my child? Well, Kiely's mom does have that answer tonight. And I want to bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter, who is joining me now here in studio. Chanley, this is the disappearance of Kiely Rodni. Had a lot of people baffled. There were a lot of people at this party, et cetera. And we were wondering, are we going to find out? And what did we find out today?
Well, we found out finally from the authorities, the multi-agency force that searched for weeks for her confirming today in a press conference that the authorities have recovered the vehicle, her vehicle she was driving, and the body. Let's take a listen to the sheriff of Nevada County.
We recovered the vehicle last night. We have located a decedent inside the vehicle. We believe it is our missing person. We have not been able to positively identify, but it's more than likely where we are today.
I just wanted to say, because looking at this picture right here with her and the cops standing behind her, if you guys remember when Captain Sam Brown was standing up there and he was talking about the boat ramp and he was like, we need to cover up on, and Ginger, the ginger cop behind him, that look he had on his face, like he was like, you did not just say that. Dude, can't be slipping up like that. That's what that reminded me of. See? Cover up on. We were even told by the cops that they were covering shit up.
This press conference earlier today lasted about 20 minutes, and here's some of the big takeaways of what we were able to learn. We learned that they have not ruled out foul play or that it was an accident, that there is a fatality traffic collision investigation active and ongoing right now, and has been. One body was found inside this SUV. The autopsy is tomorrow. Toxicology will be conducted. That could take 6 to 8 weeks. And we also learned that the complete investigation, of course, could take a while. And also at this presser, the family of Kiely Rodney were there. They didn't take any questions from the media, and they were quickly led away once this press conference concluded. You can kind of see them going out the back door there, but they were there showing a presence. Many reporter questions were not directly answered, as you can imagine, Vinny, at a press conference with the still an ongoing investigation type of answer from the authorities. But we do know the car was found in a location close to where this party was, but they wouldn't specify how close. They don't have any information if another car happened to be involved at all. And they were tight-lipped on what they found inside the car, if anything, during this press conference.
And Kiely's car was found in the water. Now, this is she was at this party, right? We're near Lake Tahoe. There's lots of bodies of water everywhere. It was in a campsite associated with a reservoir. So it wasn't far away from where she was that night.
Not far at all. They said it was actually quite close. They didn't give an exact distance to it, but this was an area where law enforcement had extensively searched already before the group, the specialty search and rescue heroes that came in, adventurers with purpose, came in, and it didn't take them long to find her in an area that had already been searched by law enforcement. So today, law enforcement expressed gratitude to Adventures with Purpose group and their efforts in finding her. But as you can imagine, the captains were peppered with questions as to how did you guys miss this?
Right.
And these experts find it so fast. Let's take a listen to the captain for the Nevada County Sheriff's Office.
How did we not find it when we were searching? The lake was extensively searched with side sonar, with an ROV. We had divers, we had swimmers. I think that's part of what we're gonna have to go back to do and debrief. You know, when peace officers are out in the field and volunteers and searchers, it doesn't mean that they're experts in the field, right? These are sometimes ancillary duties, and we're calling from other agencies to try to jump in. And tracking underwater is an extremely difficult thing to do. So I think part of our debrief on any of these situations is how do we figure out to improve our services, work on our resources and the way that we use them. A lot of this equipment is high-end, very expensive, and you really need to have a lot of practice and expertise. And I think that's where a group like Adventures with Purpose is able to focus and practice those skills and really hone them. And so we're appreciative that they were able to come out and locate it.
And let's just talk about for 1 second how insanely ridiculous that statement that he just made was. How completely insane. Oh, we searched. We had the sonars, we had the divers in there. As a matter of fact, we specifically told AWP that they did not have to search there because we had that covered, but found nothing. Because there was nothing to find at the time. All right, I dropped it.
That's what makes me so suspicious of the tow truck guy, because he's the one who told them to go looking at Boca, and that made me think immediately, like, is he trying to like throw them off from there?
AAA guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. That was so that was confusing too at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still waiting to see footage. We probably never will, but
right, probably
you know?
never will. But I mean, I don't know, like to this day I cannot say if that guy was legit or not, but he said that Kiely had her stuff, or no, she was going home to get her stuff because she was leaving. So, you know, it always made me wonder back then if she actually made it back to the lodge or not before whatever happened to her happened. Hey, Kurt, what's up?
Not much. Are you getting an echo?
No?
All right, because I didn't have any headphones and I didn't know if I was going to echo real bad.
Oh, no, you're good.
No, I just think my brain was so racked from when this was happening that I couldn't even like retain information about it. So stepping back for some time, you know, and looking in, it's kind of crazy because early on, you remember that guy Miro?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So that dude Miro, he reached out to Ryan early on and was like trying to give him all this information. Well, I have a theory. I think either that dude was sent from AWP to try to get Ryan off the trail, or I also believe that there's a good possibility that that Miro kid had some sort of understanding of what was going on, and he tried to get Kiely out of there, and that was why he reached out to Upchurch, because nobody's even heard from this dude again. Like he doesn't exist anymore. Why?
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah, that's really weird.
Well,
So
if you look at the whole Ronnie thing, if you remember, Ronnie had Miro hit the name Miro was on his Instagram post.
Yeah, he did.
That's kind of weird.
that is weird. Now, if you can refresh my memory, what did he say to him when he was on the phone? What did he reach out to Ryan specifically for?
He was the one that said his cousins were at the party. He was the one talking about Ronnie's cousins. Like he was like, oh yeah, these kids were out there. They like to party. They're older cats. They all like to get high and drunk. That was the kid that called Ryan.
Oh, so that was after Ronnie called Ickmel's and told him that his cousins were at the party.
No, it was
No,
before.
before?
It was before, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's why everybody was like, well, Ronnie's white then, because Miro was white and Ronnie was black. That's where the confusion was.
Gotcha.
We're like, this dude's just pretending to be Miro, but it was really Ronnie. But in all reality, I believe that Miro cat knew exactly what happened. I think he was just in a situation where he couldn't say nothing because he wasn't able to. And I think a little bit that he did say might have put him in some hot water.
Oh.
And that's why he's no longer around anymore. Because think about it like this. Like, have you ever seen the movie Alpha Dog?
Yep.
Okay, so you know how like they almost get like a relationship with this kid, and then some of the people feel bad for what's happening.
Yep.
So just imagine here's Miro, this kid that maybe has affiliation with some sort of organization, and he knows what they're doing is wrong, but he doesn't say nothing. And then he sees Kiely, and he's like, oh my God, this girl's so beautiful. I can't believe they're going to do this. Tries to tip Upchurch off, but it was too late.
Gotcha. So what's your take? What do you think? What do you think happened to her?
I definitely believe there was some sort of foul play. What? I don't know. Like, I think that it's crazy. See, I said this and I stand on this. So regardless of what happened, I think that it's absolutely ridiculous that nobody was charged for this girl being at a party drinking and getting drunk and driving into the lake drunk. If that's what they closed the case as, is an accidental because she was intoxicated and drove into the water, why was nobody charged?
See, that's my thing. Like, legally, because there are other people, you know, I'm sure retired cops, retired FBI that have looked at this case, that have seen this, you know, I mean, it was national news. Right. So I'm sure. So my thing was, well, how could there not be any charges filed at all? Like Samantha literally said that she was drinking with her all night. You know, they
Right.
knew they had alcohol at these parties. This wasn't these kids' first rodeo, according to the story.
Well, I think what you said kind of made sense where they're all just telling fabricated tales that necessarily we're never going to have you can't, when you're telling a lie, you can never find any truth in the lie. So if
Right.
we heard nothing but lies this entire time, it makes sense why everything's so confusing. So if there's a bunch of people just constantly flooding it with lies and bullshit, how do you know what to believe? Is there anything that's even factual in there?
Right. That's the thing. And like I was trying to say, like Sam is not an idiot. Like she's not stupid, right? She's obviously not that dumb. So why she would make the statements that she made, you know, knowing she was saying things that were so suspicious, knowing that people were going to jump all over everything she said. It wouldn't make any sense unless it was done on purpose. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, like early on, that's really I felt like it was. I felt like okay, so we've probably all been in trouble at some point in our life, even if it was just a little bit of trouble. The first hour of getting in trouble, like you're trying to tie up all your loose ends. You're trying to make sure everybody's on the same page, nobody's saying the wrong story. Like you're literally trying to do damage control so that nobody says the wrong thing. So now looking back, like look at all the people that come forth. There was clothes switch ups. I mean, hell, the guys that found her didn't even know where they were looking. They said Truckee National Park, but it was really they said Tahoe National Park, but she was really in a Truckee Preserve, which is not even attached to a national park. Like it's so confusing that they found her in 13 minutes, but they didn't even know where they found her. And then they got some random tow truck driver dropping pins and random locations saying he's seen her the next morning. Like all that is so confusing.
Right. It is so super confusing. I totally agree. Larissa, you got anything you want to add in?
I think one of my questions is why is the Rodney family not doing a wrongful death suit on Sammy? She openly admitted to the public that she shared alcohol and nobody else has. So therefore you would think that they'd be suing her because she's technically, by admitting that, responsible for Kiely's death, right? In
Yeah,
some type of way.
Yeah, but it makes sense why they wouldn't because there's no criminal charges. The girl has no money, so they're looking for the next biggest person that they can find, and they did. And I think that's a lot of the part why the mom ain't doing anything. It's kind of weird to me that the mom isn't doing anything, and it's the grandfather and the father because that goes back to, well, then the mom doesn't have any eyes on her. If she was involved in it, all eyes on everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
So what if the
Well, aren't they
grandfather and the
suing?
father? Good.
Oh, aren't they suing for 75,000? Isn't that amount the same as the GoFundMe at that one time?
Well,
I
it
have
it
no
said
idea what they're suing for.
yeah, it said in the court papers that it was over the amount of 75,000. So it didn't really specify an amount.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
it's weird because for me it almost feels like the mom doesn't want anything to do with it because she knows it'll open up a can of worms, and the father and the grandfather are like, no, we need answers. That's how it feels like to me a little bit.
See, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I don't think her grandpa and dad know the truth of actually what happened. Like I think Lindsay knows, obviously. And I think that, again, just my opinion, I think that dad and grandpa are just fed up. And I honestly feel like they just want the truth. Like they just want to know. I wonder if they're not doing this to try to get to the truth of what happened. You know what I'm saying? To try to
Yeah.
get answers.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Why? Because there's been people saying, "Oh, didn't want to claim. They want to go all the way to the end." Well, that makes sense why they would, because then you have to, especially in a federal case, it's going to get a lot of eyes on it. It's going to get people investigating every outlet of every theory to try to find if it's possible or not. I think this is, man. To be honest with you, I believe that they know that this is going to open up a bigger investigation, and hopefully it will get them some sort of answers.
Right.
Because how can you say that none of the theories that were on YouTube were true? You can't say, well, this guy is just full of a bunch of non-theories and everybody else is correct. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. But you have to have some sort of proof.
Yeah, but see, my thing is if you have to have proof for a theory, then you have to have proof that the theory doesn't exist.
Right. No, I'm saying you can't say every theory's wrong.
Right.
Because
So how did all these people know each other somewhere along the line?
oh, it's crazy.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen a case so insane where there's connections to, like, everybody's connected to each other somewhere, some way along the line, at some place.
Well,
It's bizarre.
Then they wonder why people try to put connections to other people, because, when you find out that the people that found her have connections to the people that were saying they were looking for her, then it finds out that those same people also have connections to the people that were supposedly at the party where she went missing. Like, it all just starts like melting your brain.
Right. Like Zanime, who said that she just happened to be at a Mexican party next door to Kiely's party and just happened to kayak over where the body was found and just happens to have a connection to Samantha.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird. Like, I'm from Florida and we have a lot of Spanish people around, and like music, those kids aren't going to be able to sit out there and play music. They're definitely not going to start fist fighting out there. One of those Spanish people are throwing shoes. They're figuring out what these kids are doing, dude. Like,
right.
It just doesn't make sense that there's a whole bunch of kids in the middle of the woods, in the middle of the night, getting drunk and high, and nobody figured out that, like, it just doesn't make sense.
I agree. Larissa, you got anything?
Well, I didn't believe that there was a party in the first place just because of the 200 to 300 people. I either thought that there was no party at all, or it was blown up to that big of a number because they were trying to make it to where they couldn't narrow down who did what.
We used to do it. I used to do that shit. I went to school at a big high school, right? And I would hang out with the seniors all the time. It's funny because that's what she was doing. Well, what we would do is we would get a whole herd of people together in some random location. Sometimes it was a park, sometimes it was a friend's pool. It didn't really matter. And then once we knew everybody was there, a lot of me and my homeboys would leave and we would go to a house party somewhere else. And we would go party there. And then when anybody asked, oh no, we were just at the woods with so and so and so and so. So it's almost like you can never really, like, our parents could never really find out where we were at because we were actually at this party. Everybody's seen us at this party, but that's not where the night ended. So that's why I feel like the party was probably a thing, but I don't think these kids knew anybody there. I think they just knew that that was an active spot for parties, and they could tell their parents, this is where we were. They could tell the news, this is where we were. There's news clips of kids having parties there every year for graduation, so it fit the narrative. Those kids, it didn't make any sense. This girl said these people were there doing drugs that we didn't do.
Yeah.
What drugs do you not do?
Yeah, right. She said,
they smoke weed. They smoke weed for sure. They live in California. It's a legal thing. And they said they smoke weed.
Right.
So what were these kids passing around? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. These not normal drugs that we would have at the party, according to Megs, who was there for 10 minutes.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I think that the party, like you said, it's a popular party spot. Yeah, they know people party there all the time, or kids party there all the time. So let's push this fake narrative because it's a lot easier to say, okay, she disappeared from this crazy out of control party with wild older dudes than it is to say, whatever the truth is of what happened to her.
Right.
If
Well, then look at the kids. Like, all the kids were running the search parties and stuff, right? So I got a kind of a theory on that too. So if one of these kids are related to a law enforcement, like, I don't know if any of them are, or maybe a higher member of Congress or whatever, like for the area, like a politician. What if they're like, yo, you guys fucked up. You're running the search party. If they figure out you're telling lies, you guys are all going to go to jail. We're not getting involved. So maybe that's why these kids ran it, because these higher ranking officials that knew something was shady was going on wasn't putting their name on it. You don't see any of these dudes at a base with a bunch of tips, writing tips down, investigating tips, getting calls from. I mean, you don't see that. Why did that not exist?
See, that's another huge thing for me, because any case that was run this way would have been immediately red flagged by another authority somewhere else.
Right.
Like, it's just unheard of. You can't have teens collecting evidence. You cannot have teens, talking. You can't have teens who was supposedly the last person to see this girl at the party interviewing other teens that were supposedly at the damn party.
Right. And the media was only talking to kids. And then where did this best friend come from? This lady just come out of nowhere?
What best friend?
The one that went and visited Kiely at her.
That's
Purple hair.
That's the jewelry girl from Truckee. She actually did it's funny because she actually did a 1-year memorial video on her Instagram for Kiely. There's actually a picture of her with Lindsay.
Yeah, but
And
where was this lady during all this one?
that's what I'm saying. That's what I was just saying, is that it doesn't make any sense, because it seems like we saw during the searches, all the news people were talking to these figures that were planted in this case to push this narrative. We didn't even actually hear from any friends of Kiely's. And now we're hearing from this girl who was supposed to be her best friend. Why wasn't she interviewed during any of these news things?
Sammy said Megs was the best friend, right?
Right. Well,
No, Kate said that. Kate said that Mags is her best friend, Kate's her close friend, and Sammy and her were never friends.
Right. But why didn't the news talk to any of her actual friends?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Early on, you got to fake. Nobody's getting their story straight. So they finally corrected themselves and just got off the internet. And I think that's where that Megan lady comes in play.
Yeah, exactly. To push, again, this freaking party narrative.
Damage control. She was damage control from the children.
Yes. And the only thing that makes any sense, and to make all of that make sense, is that this was all put out here as a cover-up, as a distraction, as a cover-up story. Because everybody that we saw from, everybody that we heard from pushed the same narrative. Yep, Kiely was at the party. Yep, she was getting drunk. Yep, she was wasted. That's the narrative.
Yeah, no
But
doubt.
none of these, it's crazy.
The girl definitely lost her life, and the girl something definitely happened. She's real. There's no questioning that. I think people take out of context what people say. Like, how can we prove that any of this is real? Like, that's the point. Like, how can you prove that everything that everybody's saying is true? You just take law enforcement's word for it, I guess.
Right. These sketchy ass law enforcement officers.
And nobody came out after the autopsy and had a press conference and kind of discussed what was found and discussed what they thought and discussed how the case. And from last time I checked, they didn't even close.
Yeah. Apparently, her CHP report is now complete, but got to wait to get it. So, I'm really interested in what that is even gonna say.
Yeah, what's that?
Right. Would it take you a year to tell us what gear her car was in, what speed it was going when it hit the water?
Oh, that's the California Highway Patrol's final.
Yeah. That's supposedly, because SF put that out a while ago and said that there was 2 reports in front of hers. Well, if you can, take his word for it. But there was 2 more reports in front of hers that had to come out. And then it was probably a week ago that I heard that it was done and we were able to request it.
Yeah, but the only thing that's confused, is it still open though? That's what I need to find out.
Well, once the CHP, according to the authorities, the case is closed pending the CHP report. So once that is done, then it's all over.
I get you.
Yeah. So I just don't. So do you think it's a possibility? Have you ever looked into the whole T-ring angle of it all? Like if like her being sold or taken into a, you know
I
what I'm
don't
saying?
know. Yeah, I don't know. I think she was just knowledgeable of something. If
Right.
we're being honest, I think that lodge plays, into play. I know people are like, "Oh my God, don't speak on that," but this lodge was just kind of sitting there for parties that a lot of these folks that looked for this girl attended, and
Yep.
it's just kind of weird. So I wouldn't say that she was a part of it, but I believe that she had knowledge of something,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's why she's in the situation she's in. I mean, that's just my belief. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree that, and I've said that from the beginning that the lodge, because when I talked to a local there, the first thing he said was the lodge is most popular for private parties, private events. They got a helicopter pad. You have people with money renting out this lodge to do God knows what. You know
Well,
what
that's
I'm
what I'm
saying?
saying. She could have just been knowledgeable to what was going on.
Right.
Told somebody, hey, when I go off to college, I'm going to tell somebody of power what's
Yep.
going on in this town, and
Yep.
all these people are going to go to jail. One of those people could have very well been a parent to one of these kids. They took this girl somewhere, got her fucked up, hurt her, and there's the rest of the story. Put her in there you go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, could be.
it's not that far out of a possibility. Like there's things that happen in our world that are way more like outrageous that
Right.
happen on a daily basis. This
Right.
girl doing something and maybe opening her mouth and saying she was going to open her mouth and winding up disappearing. That's
Yeah.
not something that's not possible.
I actually put a short out. This was months and months ago now, but somebody had reached out to me and they were like, listen, they were like, Kiely had a notebook of names and dates, and Lindsay found it. Now, whatever was on, and flipped out. Now, whatever was on that, whatever she was Kiely was possibly keeping a record of, could have been the thing that got her. You know what I'm saying? If somebody found it and it had a lot of names on it that they didn't want out there, that could have been reason to make something happen to Kiely.
Right. I mean,
We don't know. That's the
no,
thing.
no.
There's no proof.
I have something interesting. So I found, okay, remember how during the midst of Kylie's case, like I think it's just a little bit after she was found, that there was a fire, the mosquito fire, I believe it was. Okay.
Yep.
So I did a lot of digging. I did a lot of looking into stuff. And I don't know, somebody had sent me something in my email about Zanime. So I started digging into it. She was doing a live fire training the same day that the mosquito fire started. Don't you find that a little bit weird?
Zanime was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was the trainer. She was the one that was in charge.
Right.
And there's an article on it. You can look it up on, or I can send it to you guys so you guys can see it. But it's a little bit of a coincidence for me, and I find that kind of funny that it was during the midst of the case.
That is odd.
Yeah, nowadays, who knows, man? A lot of people see. I fell for a lot of shit that I probably should have looked into a little harder. So I would want to see something that proves that, because nowadays a lot of people are just flooding it. Who knows? Who knows with the amount of shit that's been flooded into this case? Who knows really what to believe anymore?
Yeah, exactly. It's so hard and that's why it's so hard not to speculate and not have a theory and not have your opinion, because there's not enough factual evidence in this case to support anything.
Well, if I would have seen that picture with Doug and that Christie lady, I would have never fucking believed that, dude. And when I seen it, the one thing that stood out to me was the RV behind them.
That's what they were supposed to fix, this RV, supposedly, that they were going to donate for something. Like and she flew him out from wherever he lives or whatever to her house.
Oh,
And
that's weird.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strange things about Doug, and I'm sure eventually they'll come to light. But geez, dude, I just can't. It's not my business to say, but that guy's a strange fellow.
Everybody in this case seems to be, there's something sketchy about every freaking one of them.
Well, people were freaking out like early on and talking about her being abducted. So a lot of people still believe that that was a possibility and that like that she just got placed there. And that you can't even rule that out. You can't even say like I've heard people say, "Oh, how is that possible?" Well, these kids just said she was at a party with a bunch of people that they didn't know.
Right.
So how do you know that somebody didn't hurt this girl, try to make an advance on her, wasn't successful, hurt her really bad, and drove her car in the water? Like, we don't know that. Nobody knows that.
That's true. Nobody, and that's the problem, isn't it? That we're over a year later and nothing has come out. No truth has come out. We're all still full of speculation and opinions. And I mean, what option do we have at this point? It's like we can see that every single thing in this case is off. Why is that?
Well, usually when law enforcement wants something to be stopped talking about, if they wanted this shit to end, if they truly wanted people to stop talking about it, they would have came out in the press conference after the autopsy was out and discussed what they found and why they believe that this is what happened. And or they would at least said, "Hey, we got a whole bunch of evidence that we can't show you guys because we're still trying to close off this case. But just know it was 100% an accident."
Right. With no evidence that supports accident theory.
They just walked away from it like, "Oh, okay, see ya."
Yeah.
The whole world's paying attention to this, but we're just walking away.
And to me, that says like you're guilty. You have guilt, like you're covering something up. Like, for God's sakes, how could you not, after that autopsy come out and everybody went wild with speculation, how could you not come out and say anything?
Well, let me point this out. It could also see, this is another thing, and I think about this a lot too. So if law enforcement isn't adequate at doing their job, so let's just say this police station really sucks. Like, we all know there's history behind whatever. So, but let's just say it just is a horrible police station. They don't do their job. They don't follow protocol. They don't do anything by the book, and they just have a history of not doing their job. So now the whole world's paying attention to them, letting kids take the case, letting kids interview kids that were at the party. Maybe that's the neglect from the sheriff's office that's causing a lot of people to question what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think though that some outside, I mean, you got the FBI, you've got
I don't believe. No, I believe nowadays, because of the way police reform is so tight and they want everybody to support the police and everybody to love the police. And I don't believe that another agency with this high profile of a case would go step their toes into somebody that's not in their jurisdiction that could possibly benefit them at one time. Because think about it like this, they're on the line in Nevada. So if Nevada needs help, and in California and Nevada, they deal with a lot of crime, they deal with a lot of high speed chases, they deal with a lot of fires. So law enforcement is needed at all times. So if I go and I shit on your agency and I say, "Look, you guys are doing shit wrong, you're corrupt," now you don't have the backing from them, and possibly other agencies around that might not be doing things by the book, they might stay away from you now. So nowadays, I don't think so. I don't think anybody would call them up.
Well, plus if high profile officials, were involved, and then yeah, I guess that would make sense.
I mean, it happens. Don't get me wrong. Cops pull other cops over. It goes viral. So that shows you what happens when the police stand up for what's right. Is that they get kind of put in a box of, "Oh, you're a snitch," And cops are the same way as like, I've had a lot of experience with law enforcement. They don't like snitches as much as people believe they do. Like, they don't. That makes them go do their job. if I arrest you and then you tell on somebody, now I got to go arrest somebody else and let you go. So I had to do my job, and then now I got to go do my job again. And some cops, they ain't cut out for that shit. They don't want to work. They just want to collect that paycheck.
Right.
And nothing against law enforcement, but you know, you
Yeah.
got to look at them as people. They're people just like everybody else. You know, people get burned out at their jobs. People get put in situations in their life where they're just basically working because they got to. They ain't got no choice.
Right. That makes sense. Larissa?
I wanted to know what you thought about the last known surveillance. Well, the surveillance photo, Kurt.
I don't know, man. Photos nowadays are so hard to really like. Quality of the photo was horrible. So I mean, it wasn't horrible like that, but you can't really tell with that angle of who it is. You know, you see a blonde girl. I don't know. It's hard to judge that. I mean, nowadays everybody uses apps to filter things and change things, so you can't really even say, "Oh, there's a filter on that" anymore because everything has a filter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you think?
Honestly, like just I don't know. I think that I've looked at Kylie's pictures so much and like it just doesn't look like Kiely to me because the hair just doesn't match. It just I guess like yeah, Kurt, you're right. Like photos could be altered and everything like that, but when I actually look at the picture, I feel like it looks more like Sammy. And it if you do like a side by side comparison of like her picture and you know their surveillance photo, they kind of match a little bit better than it would to Kiely. Um but again, we'll never know. We'll never even know if that's an actual genuine surveillance photo or not. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
where was it from? Yeah, you don't know even who was the source. Like, where did that was that off of somebody's Ring doorbell or their hall camera? And that I mean, where was that? Where did that come from? It almost
Right.
looked like it was in a department store with clothing, like she would buy a fitting room. That's what it almost looked like.
Yeah, and it's like how many years old is that? Like has that been a picture that you've had? Is like this something that was submitted? Where did it come from? There's so many questions surrounding it in the first place. And why was there no video to it?
What helped me with all that, because there was so much different things going on. There were so many different pictures, so many different theories on the pictures, so many different theories on every possible thing that could happen. I just tried to close my brain to it for a little bit, right? And then start from square one. But don't think of people, don't think of like just think of the facts that you can find without creating some sort of theory. Like just don't use a theory for a little bit. Like try to go through the story as far as you can off of just facts. And
Yeah.
it'll blow your mind that they can look at this case and say it was an accident.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just by what we know on the internet from YouTube. That ain't even in real life on the scene.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I know when that after that photo came out, I was calling all kinds of businesses in Truckee trying to figure because they said it was a gas station. So I was calling all kinds of gas stations, and I talked to this one girl, and she was like, "I believe that picture came from our store here." She goes because a cop came in, talked to my boss. They went in the office. The cop left, and she goes, "I went up to ask my boss about it." And he said, "This is none of your concern. Don't worry about it." And that's what she said that he told her. So, I mean, you honestly wonder because I'm one of those too that I don't think that's Kiely in that picture. But
Okay, think of it like this. I've been in some nights when I was doing my thing, drinking, getting high. You don't have the same image. If she's been out running around with the wrong kids, doing the wrong shit, doing drugs, she's not, she's going to look more slender. She's going to have a different appearance. Her hair's going to look greasy. She's not going to be the picture you see that she's at her best and they're taking pictures of her. Like I had to think about that too, because I didn't think that was her right away either. But looking at it, I'm like, well, maybe if she was out doing her thing, she hadn't took a shower, you know, she hadn't ate right in a day or two, maybe, because your appearance changes pretty quickly when you're doing drugs.
And it was supposedly raining that night, so I wonder if like, you know, her hair could have waved because it's wet. Like we don't know if
Yeah.
her hair waves or not, you know.
Or they could
So
have went
that's a good thought.
swimming. They could have went swimming at the. They could have smoked a joint and jumped in the water and swam around earlier that day. I mean, you never know.
That's true. You never know. To me, it's just another sketchy thing. Like, why not release the video from that photo was from?
Well,
You know,
I looked at it like this. She said, "Well, what if a lot of this is distractions?" So
right,
I thought, okay, if I'm going to think that way, I got to stop paying attention to things that could possibly be a distraction. So I can't
right,
focus on a photo that might be her. I can't focus on um, uh, a video that AWP might drop. Like I couldn't focus on those things. So I started looking at like, okay, when did she go missing? What was said? What happened? What else went down? Like you got to remember there was two other people, two adults missing from the same area, and they were found in their car on the side of the road in a ditch. So like immediately, oh well, they ain't connected. Keep going. Well, how do we know that? You know what I mean? Like you don't know that.
right. I thought that shit was weird too because they weren't found in their car; they were found outside of their car. So
Right.
I'm like, how friggin' bizarre is that?
So then that's two things you know are factual that those people went missing the same time as her.
Yep.
They were at a car show, and then if you remember correctly, she was supposed to go to that car show.
Right.
So then you're like, okay, so a car show she was supposed to be at, two people went missing, and then she also went missing in a completely different area.
Yeah.
But then they didn't even know if she was in this lake or that lake or maybe over here. Let's look everywhere, but we're not looking here because there's no way she's here.
Right.
So they didn't even know where she was, but they knew where she wasn't.
Yeah.
That's
That
another
makes
thing.
sense.
So then now, okay, so you're like, all right, now she's not here. She can't be there, but these people are still missing. Oh, well, we found these people. We haven't found her. They can't be connected. And that's around the time that they said there's no way she was abducted and she didn't run away. Well, how do they know that?
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, here comes AWP and they go right to the lake. Well, actually, they go to Best Buy to buy batteries for their camera, and they run in to supposedly somebody that towed her car the night before, and this dude said she wouldn't even come by the car. Okay, so that changes a lot then.
Right.
That's the only statement that I've heard anybody say that, hey, this girl was still around that morning,
Right.
but supposedly went missing. So
Yep.
why did that just get pushed under the rug? No big deal. Who did that guy see?
Yeah.
So then, so you keep thinking along those lines. All right, so maybe possibly she wasn't at Prosser. That's not where she was. Maybe she was. If you look where this guy supposedly said she was, where he dropped this ping near the Tahoe National Forest, well, maybe that's where the party occurred. Well, back in '04, around '04, there's news articles that they really had problems with kids partying in the forest, and it doesn't say it ever stopped. They can't really control it. It's so big. So maybe that's where this party was. Maybe that they all hitched a ride to this big ass party, and they knew that some shady shit went down there. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna make up, hey, this party over here is where we really were at, and that's where our car's going. That's how I would see that so far, just based off of what witnesses have said, and prove that wrong. How can they prove that she wasn't there?
Right. Well, I mean, if you look at the text messages that came in the first FOIA request, or FOIA request, the text messages from the camp hosts at Boca, at Prosser, at the other one, and the guy said, "Listen, I told them that the party was not here. The music was coming from west of the campground."
Right.
So he was saying, the guy from Prosser, the camp host, was saying that there was no party there. The NBC wanted to interview him, and he said, listen, there was no party here. I have nothing to say about it. And then you have the text messages from Boca where the camp host is talking to the manager about how the FBI was coming to collect the dumpsters, and they were coming to collect the bear box from where the kids were partying that night, the night that the girl went missing. Again, that was Boca, not Prosser.
What if, okay, so check this out. So what if when they realized that the FBI was stepping in, they said, oh shit, they're going to come here and get all this information, and then they're going to find out. So that's when the vehicle went in the water. That makes a lot of sense because that's around the time the FBI backed up because they found the vehicle. No big deal. That's why the divers never went in the water because the FBI never stepped in yet. They were just kind of like surveilling what was going on and trying to make a decision on what they were going to do. And
Mhm.
bam, here comes AWP to find the car.
Right. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And then it takes a year. Then it takes a year for the highway patrol to finish the report.
and why is that? Why would it take a year?
It does take a long time though, because I've had just regular accidents last a while. But you got to think the amount of the volume. It depends on the state. Like smaller states, it's not going to take as long because they don't have as much accidents due to a fatality. But there's probably a lot in California that they got to comb through, and they're statewide. They're not just Truckee. It's the entire state of
Right.
California.
Right. I get
It
that.
could, and it could be backlogged for years and years and years.
Gotcha. But they did end up saying that the FBI wanted the garbage pulled out of the dumpsters and they were supposed to be coming to pick up the one dumpster. And then she ended up in the later text message, she said, well, they told us they're not coming to pick up the dumpster, but to keep the garbage for them. And this was again at Boca, not at Prosser. So, I mean, that's
kind of unbelievable. That's kind of unbelievable though, because most of the time, like especially the FBI, they don't tell you they're doing anything. They just come there and take it. Like they're not tipping you off because most of the time their conviction rate is unmatched. They're going to, if they get involved in it, somebody's going to jail. And I think that's why her vehicle turned up where it did. I mean, that's just a theory. Like there's a good possibility they knew if the feds come in here, we might have some problems.
right. Yeah, that could be.
I don't know though.
Right.
I mean, it could, like, I don't know. This is my thing. If the circumstances didn't look like this, like I would say it could have been an accident. How can you not charge anybody with anything? Like if somebody would have got charged with, even child endangerment, bro, like a parent should have known better than to allow their child. And like she didn't really communicate with her too
Right.
much. And they were supposed to be going camping the next morning. A lot of that shit don't make sense, dude.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Like who goes to a car show and then camping? Who goes out drinking in the woods and then camping? Like usually you would think most kids even would want to go home and get their stuff, and none of her stuff for camping was in the car.
No. And why wouldn't you party, right? Why wouldn't you have partied? Why wouldn't you have camped that night? Why wouldn't you planned on camping the night
right?
You were going to this supposed party? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would have made more sense.
Well, remember, old girl slept in her car on the side of the road on the opposite side of the reservoir. So I guess it's a frequent spot where people just I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Right. Yeah.
Like that doesn't make sense. We're sleeping in our car on the opposite side of the lake overnight where somebody is missing. Like that makes great sense. And then go kayaking in the middle of the night.
Why not GPS? Why not do the geo-locating on everybody else's phone that was supposed to be there that said they were there that night at the party, right? Like, we still don't know what happened to Kiely's phone. We still don't know if it was found with her, if it was gone. Like, there's just no proof of it. But why not track everybody else's phone to see whose phone was pinging where at what time? I mean, it just doesn't.
They might have, but that's what I'm saying. Like, because the lack of human, like, it's really confusing that there's so much media coverage, but they didn't know media closed it. Like, they didn't close anything out. They just left it open. Like, it's open to interpretation. Like, oh, it was an accident, but we're not going to say how. We're just going to say she drove in the water. Have a good day.
Yeah.
But what about all these people that were drinking? What about all these news clips of these kids saying they've been drinking with this girl? That's not a big deal to you guys?
Right.
You can't even use certain products in California. I doubt that you know what I mean?
Yeah. Larissa, you got anything you want to add in?
I do. Okay, so here's just an interesting bit of information. So there was a point where somebody that I had been working with at the time, um, they were talking to the tow truck guy in direct messages. And, you know, they got to chatting and whatever. And he said he really saw her, this, that, and the other. And so those people decided to make a lineup of, you know, some of the kids, and they sent it to him, and he never replied after that. It kind of ties in with what Kurt said earlier. It's like as if like something like scared him off, or like they just swept it under the rug, and that's why he isn't saying anything.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just found that interesting after what Kurt had said about him.
And I'm sorry, who are you talking about again, Nick?
Tow truck driver, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nick Giovanni, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that kid just disappeared, bro. And I went to school with a cat named Nick Giovanni. It's so funny, but it ain't him. I went to school with somebody.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like after what you had said, I found that little piece of information interesting because it was almost as if he like couldn't talk about it, or he was like scared off by it.
Yeah, or like I've also thought about what if these dudes from AWP like were hired to just come in here, shake shit up a little bit, and get out of there. Find this girl and get out of there. Like I don't, you know, I've been so torn on that because like you don't want to put that type of blame on somebody, and I ain't blaming them for that, but it's a theory. Like how could you try to sway the case by saying there's another video coming out depending on the outcome of if she's found or not? Like what?
Right, depending on what the cops say or not.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Depending on what
Yeah.
the cops say. So that means you know what happened, but you're just not going to say it unless the cops say it. That's what that means.
Right.
That's
Right.
that right there should tell you everything you need to know. The cops knew something and they weren't telling the public.
Definitely.
So
I
AWP knows what it is.
Right.
And there's a couple of characters that are roaming around really weird right now. And why are they doing that? Because they know what it is. So they don't want other people to figure this shit out. So it's the best way to do it. Try to bust them out of the case, get them off the case.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Why are those dudes so focused on what happens about this case now? You know what I'm saying? Why do they care if it's still looked into? Because if things get overturned and people start figuring shit out and they knew about it, there's a good possibility they might get blamed for being the one that said something, even though they might have not have said anything. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, in the fear that these people have about this shit is kind of that's why I believe that Kiely knew something, and that's why what happened, because they didn't want her to tell anyone. And she was about to leave to college. Like a lot of makes sense. If I've been locked away and I know all this shit about a bunch of bad people around me,
You gotta
and
wait for Mama.
I'm finally like, I'm out of this mug in 6 more weeks. I'm off to college. And I tell one of my friends, hey, when I leave, I'm fucking telling everything. And they're like, oh my God, that's so-and-so's dad. Hey, Kylie's going to college and she's telling everybody everything about what's going on. Boom. Now this girl is a sitting duck. She's going to this party, has no clue that everybody knows this. And next thing you know, she's no longer around.
Yep. That could very well be too.
It's a theory, but it's not unbelievable.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be as big as, you know, people might think. It could have been something small. Dude, somebody could have done something to somebody around in the hometown years ago and she knew about it. It could have been fucking fraud. They could know about, you know, who knows what it could be. It could be as simple as it's going to end somebody's career, possibly put them in jail.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be. It's so crazy. It's just, it makes it so hard when all you want to do, and all I've ever wanted to do from the beginning was just find out the truth of what happened to her. That's it. You know, and it's been so difficult because every other day there's somebody throwing some bullshit at you that, you know, who knows where it's coming from. Coming out, you know what I mean? And you don't know what to believe.
Well, I shared this before and I'll share this again, but I got to get out of here soon. So what I shared is I put my car in a lake. I put my car right into a lake at 85, 90 miles an hour in midair over 2 lanes of traffic high out of my mind on Xanax and a blackout drunk behind the wheel. And I put my car in the water, right? And if I would have died in that water, there would have been a rock solid story on what happened. Because the party that I was at was an actual party. The people that were there, I was doing drugs with. Would everybody have came forward and said something? No. But there would probably be some sort of, there was a dude about to jump in the water and save me when I got out of the water.
Right.
And you know what I mean? So me going through what I've gone through, I just think about it and I'm like, there's no way that nobody's seen this girl that fucked up that she couldn't function at the wheel.
Right.
There's no way. So if I would have died during that, the cops, my mom, the people that loved me, they would have went after every one of those kids that they could have found that were at that house party getting high with me, that
Yeah.
let me leave. And if any of them were adults, they all would have been getting something. There would have been something. There would have been a lawsuit. There would have been a criminal charge. Something would have happened.
Right. Yeah. That's how
And
it should have been.
Well, it's California too, so you would think with the way that their laws are that they would be more strict on a child being provided alcohol at a party and letting get behind the wheel and drive away.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So I just don't believe that. The reason I don't believe that it was an accident is because there's not any supporting facts that it was an accident. Everything that's been said is a crock of shit, and there's been no factual evidence to back it up. Nothing about the party, nothing about her alcohol level was there. There was alcohol there, but it wasn't to the point where you'd be like, oh my God, this girl was plastered, and your body stops metabolizing alcohol at the moment that you're gone, right? So where does it go at that point? Doesn't just leave. I don't know.
Me either. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's why I feel like if the police truly felt like it was getting out of control and people needed to stop talking about it and it was too big and this is crazy, like people have rumored, then you would think that these police would have came out and been like, look, we got the autopsy results back. These are the levels we found, and this is why they're those levels. And had a chemist or a person that understood on autopsy said, look, that is actually pretty high considering the fact that her kidneys shut down and she was blah, 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 blah. Like there probably is reason behind that. But if you don't explain it to nobody and the public doesn't know, the only thing we're going to do is make our own opinions.
Right. And that's what I said. I mean, not for nothing, but a long time ago, if they wanted to come out and put an end to a lot of people's speculation, all they had to do was come out and address some things. And they never wanted to do that.
It's fear, man. It's fear. Like people are afraid to fall out of a line with, like, that's what I think too. I don't believe it. I don't believe that it's fear of like somebody saying, oh, you know this. I think just a lot of people are ignorant to the fact that there's fucking monsters in this world, dude. And they do exist. That's why we have heinous crimes day in and day out on the news.
Yeah.
And because people are able to cover shit up, that's what I mean, it happens all the time.
Yep. It certainly does.
Look at that dude, that Murdoch dude. Look at that Murdoch dude. That Murdoch dude was paying people left and right to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
He would have been in trouble long ago had he not had the money and the
means.
The platform and that's a prosecutor that was a great grandchild to another prosecutor. About like, dude, the whole family had put people away for like, think of that. Like, think of all those people that went to jail under that dude's word. Like, those people are gone for the rest of their life because of this guy.
And I always wondered that too about the party about Kiely when we found out that the Hembrecht's grandfather was tight with Nancy Pelosi. I went, oh shit. Well, maybe this is why, because this kid's involved. He knows what happened. And, Grandpa's going, hey, we got to make this all go away.
JR Nana, I can't speak on that because that's not my business, but I will tell you, I'm sure Ryan will eventually speak on it.
Yeah.
I just can't. It's not for me to say.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like people really give him a hard time, bro, and they don't understand that, there was a lot of people that had influenced a lot of the opinions, and it didn't necessarily come from straight off the internet. Like there was people making phone calls, showing up. It was different, dude. It was like it almost felt like we were fucking tip lines essentially, and I'm sure Ryan had it 10 times worse. But people felt like we were going to be able to just get in our car and drive over to Truckee and be like, look, this is what happened. I'm like, I can't. My hands are tied, man. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm a YouTuber. That's about it.
Right. Okay, sugar. Have a good night. Thanks, son.
I think that's where people lose touch with reality. Like, this is the internet. These are opinions. These are theories. You know what I mean? These are things that we think based off of what we see and hear.
Right. Exactly. And I hope, oh my God, I don't know. I hope some truth and some light comes out of this for sure. Like it's way overdue. Larissa, you got.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I'm kind of just letting myself think a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Well, I don't know about you guys, but my daughter just came up a few minutes ago and told me that one of our freaking puppies just died. So I know. So I got to deal with that, but I wanted to try to get through at least this court TV video, and then I'll have to finish and do the rest of the live tomorrow.
Well, look, I got to get to bed anyway. I appreciate you letting me come up. I really do. And thank you for letting me have some opinion in this.
No problem. Thanks for coming up. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. You guys have a good night.
You too.
Thanks, Kurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Sam, I'm going to hop down too because I got to take care of these kids.
All right. Have a good night.
All right, I'll be in chat.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Good night.
All right, you guys, let me get through this video here.
Emily, I know you have those two rescuers on with you right after this. I'm not going to go into too many details. You can ask them personally what they did and how they did it. But what I was so impressed with, they say they arrived at that scene at like 10:40 a.m. and then they found that SUV by 11:15, lightning fast with their technology and their expertise and researchers. And that's what the police were basically saying, that that's their full-time job. That's what they do. We're thankful that they were a part of this. And they have some really cool video on their YouTube page of behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And, it's not to criticize the law enforcement here tonight, but it's, you have to be open. You have to be open to getting help from people who can give you that kind of help. So I'm glad that they understand that. And maybe other agencies will be more open to that, because many times there can be some friction when you have private organizations that come through and are just really good at what they do. Chanley Painter, thank you so much. As you mentioned, let's bring him in. Joining us now in Truckee, California, two special guests, lead divers who found Kiely Rodni and hosts of Adventures with Purpose. It's on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it, folks. It's absolutely amazing, the work that Doug Bishop and Nick Wren are doing, and they are with us tonight. Guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And first of all, let me say, thank you for the work that you do and the work that you did in this case. How you feeling tonight?
We're doing okay. We're focusing on what it is we're able to do, the positives that there are in this, which was to provide answers for the family and law enforcement.
Yeah, and in providing those answers, it's an answer that people don't necessarily want in a case that evolves this quickly. There are other cases I know you've worked on and we'll talk about where people have been looking for answers for a long time that you can provide. So tell us, first of all, how you went about this and how you were able to get that location, find the SUV so quickly.
So basically, on our day 2 of the search, we went back to ground zero and went right into Prosser Creek Reservoir. Went to the main boat ramp, launched 2 of our search boats. Doug was operating one, I was operating the other. He went one direction, I went the other to cover waterways quicker. And about 35 minutes into the search, I went over the top of something that created a large shadow, and it stood out as if it was a man-made object. So I continued to make several passes on it to verify what I was looking at, and it looked very peculiar to me, and possibility that it might be a vehicle. So I called Doug on the radio and got him to come over and put a second set of eyes on it. We spent about another 15, 20 minutes over the top of it, scanning it from different angles and verifying that we both agreed that it did look like a vehicle under there. So at that point, we pulled out one of our fishing magnets and a buoy and on a line, dropped it over, and sure enough, we got a hook on the metal. And at that moment, we were both convinced that we had found a vehicle.
So when you say get eyes on it, what are you putting eyes on? Describe for us exactly what you're using here at this moment.
Yeah, so we're utilizing Garmin's cutting-edge sonar technology. It's a side scan, a down image, as well as a live scope. And between the 3 sonar imagery processes, we're able to manipulate them together and get an accurate identification on the targets we're identifying on the bottom of waterways.
So how do you know, or how did you know the area to go in? What was it based upon that, hey, we should kind of get in the water in this area? Because before you're doing this, at this point, no one knows anything, right? We don't know if she drove away, if she was abducted, if she ended up in one body of water or another area. Give me your thoughts on how you focused on this particular area.
Yeah, based on confidential information, we began our search at a different location and sort of judged the fact that 18 agencies and 19,000 man hours were put into this lake. We gave that a lot of credibility. So we started our first day at another location. Those waterways were ruled out. So coming into our second day of searching, we relied back on the tactics that we've developed here at Adventures with Purpose for closing cases, and that is to start at square one, her last known location. Once we identified that as what police allegedly confirmed, which was the campground, Prosser Creek Reservoir, and no longer than 35 minutes into our search there is when we discovered the vehicle.
And what can you tell us about the location where you discovered the vehicle versus where she was, the campgrounds? Is there a road that goes by? Is there anything that would lead you to say, okay, yeah, this is an area that is very, very close? And I know you have some confidential information as well. I'm not asking you to reveal that, but in terms of logistically, if you're looking at a map, if you're looking at where she was, where this party was, where you found the CRV.
Sure. So basically, this particular lake has a lot of access to the shoreline that vehicles can make it to. I would say 50% of the lake, you can drive vehicles right to the water's edge. So our tactic was basically, let's just search the entire perimeter of the lake. So when we split up and just one went one way and one went the other, it just so happened that along my path, it was about 35 minutes into the search when I discovered the vehicle.
Tell me about that moment for you, what that's like when you know that there is a family that is so desperate for an answer and you may be very close to giving them that answer.
So yeah, that's a very emotional moment. And it's kind of you're in disbelief. You don't want to see what you're seeing. There's all kinds of emotions going through your head. And discovering it from the surface and not actually having a verification of is this the vehicle we're looking for, there's a lot of what ifs. So once we discovered it from the boats, we repositioned our mobile dive unit around to the shore that was pretty close to where we located it. And I put my dive gear on, got in the water, and went down at the buoy. And within 5 seconds, I was able to see that this, in fact, was the vehicle, verified the license plate. And then I did my 360 vehicle assessment and confirmed there was remains in the vehicle. And so then I came to the surface, told Doug, who was in the boat above me, what I'd seen. And right away, he called the family members of Kiely. And then right immediately following that, he called law enforcement to get them involved.
I don't know what making that phone call is like. I don't know.
See, now everybody, you got SF going and telling everybody that that AWP put it out that she was found on Facebook before they connected with any family members. They said that they talked to an aunt and then to a grandmother. So, again, you have to try to decide who you want to believe, but it makes you wonder why AWP would have a contact for the aunt, but not have a contact for her mother. And her dad was there. Her grandpa was there. It's just weird how the whole thing was done as far as contacting family went.
Know how you prepare for it, but I know it's not the first time that Adventures with Purpose, Nick and Doug and everyone there has had to do that. So what was that moment like, and how do you break that news? How do you give that answer to a mom?
Like you touched on prior, we specialize in cold cases, and we're working cases and solving them that are, 20, 30 years old in some instances. Families at that point have been through decades of torture of not knowing. So they're really, really welcoming on any answer whatsoever. Calling family and notifying them, takes away all hope of their 16-year-old little girl ever driving back in the driveway. Coming into this, we did not want to find her. Obviously, if she was there underwater, we did, because we want to provide those answers. And, the longer the evidence is underwater, the worse that becomes. I can tell you that within minutes of my phone call, Grandpa and Father were there on scene with us. Extremely grateful, but also extremely frustrated as well. A lot of emotions, a lot of very, very extremely strong emotions. This is a big ongoing investigation. There's still a lot of answers still out there, a lot of questions to be answered. And the FBI, the Nevada County Sheriff's Office, and the Placer County Sheriff's Office now have one extremely frustrated as well. A lot of emotions, a lot of very, very extremely strong emotions. This is a big ongoing investigation. There's still a lot of answers still out there, a lot of questions to be answered. And the FBI, the Nevada County Sheriff's Office, and the Placer County Sheriff's Office now have one of the biggest missing clues to their investigations, and should be. I fully expect a lot of very heavy stuff to come from this.
Now, where is that? Where is all the heavy stuff that was supposed to come from this? Like, literally nothing came from this. That's so crazy. Like, they know something that we're not privy to. They have some insider information that we just don't have for them to say that. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Absolutely. Wow, this is a lot to work through. A lot of emotions. Let's do this. Can you guys can stay with us. I want you to stay with us because I have more questions I want to ask you. I also want to understand, and I want the folks at home to understand the name Adventures with Purpose, some of the other work that you have done, and how they can help you as well. So Doug and Nick from Adventures with Purpose still with us. As we go to break, we're going to keep them with us, but also, folks, coming up next hour on the show. In Santa Fe County, New Mexico, big news in the shooting death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins by actor Alec Baldwin. That we had
Last night, we did receive some information of the recovery of the vehicle that we've been searching for, and it was located inside the Prosser Lake. It's located within the search zone that we have been searching since the very beginning of our operation. We are very fortunate that we had the assistance of a volunteer group, the Adventures with Purpose, that came out with some very specific expertise and were able to help us in locating the vehicle that we had been searching for several weeks.
Amazing. That's all I can say. Amazing. I mean, they're searching for weeks. It's within the zone. And pretty quickly, Adventures with Purpose is able to not just help, but come on, locate the vehicle and then locate Kiely Rodney, who everyone's been searching for since the beginning of the month. Let's bring him in. They're still with us, Doug Bishop and Nick Rinn with Adventures with Purpose. Okay, let's start. Everyone at home is wondering, Adventures with Purpose, if they're not familiar, YouTube channel is absolutely amazing. Go on there, folks, and you can see all the work that they've been doing. But tell us the name. What's the significance of the name, and how are you able to do what you do, whether it's finance all of this and be able to continue to help families get answers?
You know, Adventures with Purpose, you know, we're an underwater sonar search and recovery dive team. We specialize in missing persons cases, particularly those involving a vehicle. We travel the nation investigating those cases, assisting families and law enforcement completely free of charge. And we're able to do that through the community support, you know, through the community's donations, the use, you know, the support of our multiple social media platforms, our YouTube channel in particular. You know, subscribing is free. You know, it's a half of a cent to watch what we do. And, you know, our supporters put us in this position. So 100% community driven all the way. You know, we are a vessel of the community, and it's very humbling to be able to use social media platforms to be able to produce the results that we're producing. And on a shoestring budget, it's hard. It's extremely expensive to do what we do, to travel across the nation all year long. But through the community support, you know, we're able to get by, and we're able to do that for the community.
And what I say is, I do so many stories about social media gone bad. This is how social media can do good. All right, let's talk about one of the cases, Samantha Hopper and her 2 children. Tell us about that case that you guys were able to solve.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, just very different, very conflicting stories. So, you know, it's something, this case has been something from the very beginning that we've had to pick apart, use our critical thinking, really try to examine what was being said and by whom, do our own research, do our own digging, and try to, you know, form our own opinion based off of everything that we have learned. And, you know, here we are, and in hopes that somehow, some way, we will find out the truth of what happened to Kiely. I know, you know, people might not agree with me, but to me, it makes sense that she was sold, or I can't say it on this, you know what I'm saying, teed. And it makes sense that her mother, you know, would resent her in such a way that every time she's talked about her, it's been in a not a motherly, loving, caring way, in my opinion, allegedly. But just I think the whole story was completely fabricated. I think it was all made up. I don't think that there was a party that night. That's just my opinion. You know, I know a lot of people disagree with that, and that's cool. We're all just in search of the same thing. So, you know, that's what I'm here to do. Just tell it like it is, and based off of everything that I know and everything that I have learned. But yeah, I've got to go deal with this whole situation with the puppy. and my kids are, you know, needing me right now. So I'm gonna end this one tonight. Hopefully I will be able to finish this tomorrow, but I will definitely let you guys know any more content that I find. You know, I will be putting video. I will be sending it out to you guys. So please hit that thumbs up. Please consider subbing to the channel if you have not already, and please consider becoming a member. We do have a giveaway coming we were going to do it this month, but it will be at the very beginning of September. We will announce it, and then it'll be given at the end of September for our members. So I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for being here. Please consider sharing, and please leave me all your thoughts and your comments down in the comment section below. Anybody who wants to do extra to help out the channel, the links are all down in the description below. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Justice for Kiely. Have a good night.